We were originally a spin-off from Greenplum, in fact, the MPP database company, sort of highly scalable relational data processing. And we had noticed that more and more people were using big MPP databases like Greenplum and Netezza and Oracle and so on to do analytical processing and complex analytics and predictive modeling and so on. And so we wanted to make that as easy as possible for them to leverage the power of these parallel platforms to do more advanced analytics. And so what we did is we created an application, a set of tools and technologies around initially the Greenplum database and now other databases to do analytics. And so that's what we've been focused on. Well, historically, when people have been doing analytics, it's been a very cumbersome and time-consuming process. So you have large teams, often of DBAs and data engineers and data scientists, and of course the business users and the business analysts, all trying to work together to solve some sort of business problem, get some sort of business insight out of their data. But that means that you need to first of all find the data. You often then have to process that and transform it. You then have to move it into a separate analytics environment. You then try to iterate on those models, but you realize you don't have the data that you actually wanted in the first place, so you have to start all over again. Eventually you come up with the models or the insights or the reports or the dashboards that you wanted in the first place. But now those have to be operationalized, but they've been developed in an entirely separate infrastructure, so you have to move that back into your original data environment. And often that's a manual process that requires a lot of human intervention in order to take the models or analytics that you've developed in a separate infrastructure and convert them into something that runs, say, in a database. And so you have what should otherwise be fairly simple projects that are just really going after one problem, like why are my sales down, or what was the effect of that marketing campaign, or why am I losing so many customers to this competitor? And it'll take 6 months to come up with an answer, by which time your customer profiles have changed and your marketing campaigns have moved on. And so the important thing is to be iterative and fast and agile when it comes to doing analytics, and that's the problem that I think we solve. That's an interesting question, actually. Historically, analytics has been done by teams of business analysts and data scientists. And these days, I think people tend to think of them as sort of being PhDs. They're qualified not only in statistics and mathematical modeling, but also in understanding the business and understanding the nature of the data, maybe even in programming languages, and doing some real engineering around the analytics that they're trying to do. Well, that's a lot of talents that you have to pack into one person or into a small team. So I would say we absolutely do target those people. We want to make life easier for the data scientist, who typically has to struggle with all of those cumbersome infrastructures that I was talking about before. But we now want to start spreading the value and the capabilities of big data analytics further throughout the organization. So for us, our target user is not just the data scientist, but what we call the aspirational data scientist, who might be a business analyst. It's going to be that person who's really familiar with, say, pivot tables and trend lines in Excel, who's data savvy, has some knowledge of analytics, maybe took a stats class and course. There may be an MBA who understands the power of these techniques, but they just want a technology that's easier to use, where they don't run into all of these obstacles, something that's a little bit more usable. So we are going after the data scientists, but we also want to attack the problem of bringing a broader audience to predictive analytics.